Hey guys, John Grimsmo here, and in this video we're talking all about mist collectors. So on our Torno Swiss lathe, we have a mist fit unit installed, but it's installed like right on top of the lathe, and it just hasn't performed well at all. Like, we have the same unit on our other machines, they work great. On the Swiss, for a lot of reasons we'll get into later, just wasn't happy. So it's time to upgrade to the big brother unit, the Aeroex something 650. So in this video we're going to go over not only what it was like before with the old mist collector, but we're going to go installation process of the new one. Steven and Angelo handled most of the install on that, so they're going to talk about all the challenges that they faced, and then get some sweet shots afterwards of a clean, mist-free shop. So stay tuned, it's going to be fun.
See this, and if you can hear me on my cell phone, I've been running the Swiss for, I don't know, half an hour maybe. You can see it's starting to get pretty misty in here, and it just gets worse and worse. The current mist collector that we have on there just does not do the trick for the oil that we have in there. So yeah, it's pretty misty. Clearly that other mist collector is not doing the job. I do think it's a couple things. It's maybe too small, not sucking enough, but also the stickiness of the oil. Like, this oil is meant to, like they were saying, as I close the gate, Blaser was telling me that the oil is actually a stickier solution. Like, it's supposed to stick to the rotating, bar and stick to the tools and not fling off at higher RPMs. That's one of the selling features of the oil. I think one of the downsides is it's clogging up or passing through the mist collector, and I don't know if it's going out the top or if it's leaking out the machine somewhere else. I don't know, but as we install the new mist collector, we'll be able to see how much different and better, hopefully, it is. So, yeah.
What's going on, guys? Fraser here from Grimsmo. We got Steven here. He's finally agreed to be on camera with me. But basically, you're going to kind of just walk me through the install of the Misfit majigger that we installed. And I'm going to ask you some questions on why it was so, one, important, and two, difficult. Because I know that was something that you guys worked really hard on, and we want to showcase that. So kind of, where did it all start? Like, why did we do this in the first place?
It started because our other Misfit just wasn't doing the job it was supposed to. We were just throwing too much at it. It couldn't really handle it.
Yeah.
So we got the upgraded version from AeroPro.
The big boy?
The big boy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we upgraded that. And we had to kind of move it to the wall because it couldn't sit on top of the unit like we were used to.
Yeah.
And we figured being more distance between the unit and the actual mist it's collecting, it would have more time to pretty much turn back into liquid like normal oil and then drip back into the machine. So the filter wasn't actually doing as much as it used to.
Yeah, because that's kind of important. I mean, like, we have clips, and I'll show you guys one here of like John actually like running the lathe on his cell phone, and it's like foggy. Yeah. And that's obviously, like, you guys know, you're down there more than I am, obviously, but it's not healthy. Yeah. Right? And that's one of like the main reasons why we did it in the first place, right? Yeah. So we decided to mount it on the wall. So how did we even go about doing that?
Well, it came as like basically one full unit from the company, so we didn't have to make any brackets or anything like that. We just had to take the bracket that was provided and install it up on the wall, which was kind of a feat because we had to drill through like 1 foot concrete.
Yeah.
So 6 holes through 1 foot concrete obviously wasn't too easy. But once the bracket was up and then the misfit was up, which really wasn't that difficult, it was just a lot of like wiring it to the machine, putting the tubing to the machine, which we use PVC, which in hindsight might not have been the best because we found out that it's statically charged once things are running through it. So we're gonna have to switch that out eventually, or ground it, which is definitely a safety concern because you don't want atomized oil to explode because of a static charge.
Definitely not.
So yeah, that's something we got to fix. But all in all, it works really well, and the install wasn't too bad. It was definitely a lot of work, and it was very time consuming because we had to do it properly.
Yeah.
Because it's not a light machine that we're hanging up there on the wall.
No, that thing's heavy and huge.
Yeah.
And, like, it doesn't look that bad, but I'm telling you guys, like, it's what, like 300-400 pounds?
Yeah, we
So we
definitely had to do it safely.
So how does it kind of make you feel that you're now in a shop that you know is more safe? Because we've had an issue with this lathe for a little bit now, and we kind of realized like it's not ideal because we were throwing a lot at that thing. That old mist collector. Yeah, and it's great.
Far too much.
It's great. It's a great mist collector. We use it on the Mori and we use it on the Knack too, right? It's the same model, but it just didn't we're throwing a little too much at it. It kind of probably makes you feel a little better not breathing that stuff in, eh? It's just kind of
it's definitely a lot nicer for air control in the shop, obviously air quality, and the fact that there's not a bunch of oil floating around because like basically it ran the one day there. John was making back spacers, I think, because we had to get spacers out. And that's when we kind of noticed the initial problem of it leaking out like quite heavily, the mist. And after that day was done, like you could shine a flashlight basically anywhere in the shop and you could see particles in front of the flashlight. So there was definitely oil in the air. You could smell it. You could almost taste it. So we knew something had to be done about it. And we knew it had to be done fairly quickly. So we got a hold of AeroPro and they were super good to us. So we got the big brother version and it's working amazing now. So
yeah, it's definitely like a huge improvement now to even just me, like the person who's only behind the camera. I can actually only go and see, like I'm only down in the shop a couple hours a day max, right? You're there 8 hours, 9 hours a day, right? Yeah. So it's kind of huge for you guys, and it's full Grimsmo, right? We make it a little bit better.
Full Grimsmo indeed.
And like it's super detrimental to have like important air quality down there. Like you think now it could be short term, it's probably fine, but long term it's like it's not good for your health, man.
Yeah. You do not want to be breathing in vegetable oil for 8 hours a day every day. Not. It's not nice.
Yeah, I think you'll see later in this video, I think we referenced it to like it smells like 14-day-old McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, that's
it's just like
what it is.
It's like super old, dungy, like
it's
McDonald's French fries.
Food.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, so I guess my next question is like, what was kind of the hardest part about this whole process, like down here, like about the install? Like, what was like one of the harder things that you had to do?
Probably drilling the holes. We had to get a 1-foot drill bit. Obviously, we're drilling through cinder block, so we had to put 6 holes through the cinder block, and then we had to line up those holes with a unistrut on the other side.
Okay.
So basically, the weight from one hole is spaced over like 2 bricks.
Okay.
So that way, it's not just all the weight is not just on 6 individual bricks. It's basically on 12.
Okay.
So we needed to drill the holes through, put a unistrut on the back, tap con that into the building, and then have the 1/2-inch threaded bars go through there.
Yeah.
And obviously drilling a hole that size through a 1-foot piece of concrete, there's room for error, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So like some of the holes that we put through, they didn't line up with the unistruts on the other side just because they were put in on an angle. So we had to re-drill a couple, and we had to actually ream out the bracket just a little bit, just so we could fit the one through. But after that was all done, and we got those like the threaded bars through there, and the unistrut and everything was all connected. After that, it was basically just a cakewalk. Like everything was super straightforward. It had to be done properly and safely, but it was basically straightforward after that.
Sweet. All right, that's basically everything I have for you, so I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. We're going to go downstairs now. We're going to go see John kind of in action. He's going to kind of give you a rundown of all the details of what we did, and then we get to see the lathe in action.
All right.
Yeah, let's ride it.
All right, guys, the install for the new Aeroex mist collector is all done. Let me give you a walkthrough. Let me show you what it does, what it's for, why we need it. So inside the cavity of the Swiss machining center right here, I mean, I'm blasting 2,000 PSI of coolant. There's a lot of splash, there's a lot of mist, there's a lot of turbulence and everything, and all that has to go somewhere. So what the guys did, I went out and I bought the pipe, but they installed it all. So basically we have a flexible section here, which is super nice because we can see the coolant coming back down and we can see the mist going back up. And then we're going to some adapters, some duct tape gasketing, so we can clamp onto the black duct tape there. Super gray RTV sealant to help seal, which the gray stuff's working really well. And then we have 6-inch PVC tubing going there. We got a 45 to there, a 90, and then another section of clear hose. That the Aeroex came with this clear hose, so I'm glad we got to use a little bit of it. And I'm actually glad we have it on both sides because now we can see how far the oil's getting on every run. Tilted down so all the oil drains down. So that big monster fan unit up there is basically just sucking everything. The stuff is condensing in the pipe dripping down, but it's also condensing in the filter system. And then it just puts out HEPA filtered air. It's beautiful. I did already have somebody reach out to me saying, you know, something to look into. He's like, I'm not an expert, but I want you to think about it. PVC pipe can maybe generate static electricity. So a lot of woodworking guys will ground it. They'll wrap copper wire around it or something, then ground it. So that's something we're definitely looking into. But yeah, otherwise PVC was a great choice feasibly because it was like $50 in piping for 6-inch tubing. And install was pretty straightforward. So the unit's a beast. Like we mounted it to the wall, we drilled all the way through the cinder block. We put unistrut on the other side so that it's all sandwiched between the block. I mean, we went above and beyond to get that thing mounted to the wall, and it was not a fun task getting it up there. But you know, we did it as safely and effectively as we could. And then I wired it up, just got some 16 gauge wire for, it's 3-phase, 400 volts, wires right to the machine, so it turns on when the machine turns on. And then it stays on, the machine's programmed, it stays on for a minute afterwards. And then these guys here, they are drains. So mist comes in, turbulence, coolant, any drippage either will go back in there or it'll start coming down these drains. And you see the loop here. The loop works kind of like a toilet valve thing. So eventually this will fill with a little thing of coolant, of oil, and then it won't suck empty air from the openings down here. Right now we just have them plugged up because there's no oil filling the little trap. But once we start to see oil getting up there, then we can take the little rubber gloves off and then it should work properly. And then any excess oil that's actually making it there and dripping down will just fall into the bucket and then we'll put it back in the machine and move forward. I don't know how much is going to make it there, but we'll find out. But yeah, so far so good. I've had, I think I've had it running for 2 hours at max before it broke a tool and I had to stop. And no more mist in the shop. Previously, I had a 2-hour run and it was just garbage in here. So the old unit, the mist, what are they called? Mist fit. We had an MF550 on there. We have it on the lathe, we have it on the mill. It's a great unit. I just think this particular Blaser oil is, they actually, they advertise it as being like sticking. It'll stick to your part, it'll stick to your tool, it won't fling off as much. And I think it's sticking to the filters and causing kind of weird havoc, causing the filter to not do, I don't know, that. And I think we're just throwing so much garbage mist at it, and it was mounted so close that it just didn't have enough time and capacity to filter it. So I'm really glad we mounted it to the wall. I think that's probably half the benefit right there, is getting it further away so that the stuff can condense down, but also move into the Mac Daddy, the ARO 600 from Aeroex. Same company, just you got the Aeroex line is the monster, like the expensive one, and then the Misfit is the more cheaper. It works great. When you don't need the best of the best of the best, Misfit works awesome. For this, we absolutely have to go all out. So I'm glad it's the right solution for us, and I'm happy. So I really want to get like a day of running under it. I can't wait for that. It smells like oil. You should post that.
Oh, yeah.
It smells funny in there. Well, it's the funny thing, like, smell doesn't come across on the video. But, I mean, when all that mist is happening in the shop here, you smell it too. It smells like oil in the air. It is a vegetable-based oil, so it doesn't exactly smell like McDonald's, but it's kind of a little bit.
It's like 14-day fries.
Yeah, like really old French fries. Trying a brand new program.
Yeah?
Never run this before.
What's this for?
Top secret.
Yeah?
Okay, nobody's looking. I promised Steven that if he got the mist collector set up, I would make him a double thumb stud. So on the Norseman, a thumb stud that goes on both sides. And I've had it up programmed for a while, and I kind of joked. I was like, well, you get that thing up, I'll give you one. So I'm gonna run that right now. So I have an untested program, and we'll see how it works. Pretty confident in it, but little stuff jumps up all the time. Promised, surprise little part for Steven. He doesn't really know I'm making this yet. I kind of teased him a little bit. Yeah, we've had customers ask us for these double thumb studs. So this is basically a screw and a thumb stud combined into one part with a Torx mill in the end, and then a regular thumb stud goes on the other side so that they sandwich together. But I'm basically going to leave this on Steven's table for when he comes in on Monday. He'll be quite surprised. So I got one more little tweak to make, and then it's perfect. But that's going good. This is going good. Life is good. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye. There you go, Steven. Enjoy.